All right, good evening. I am Kathleen Pate. I'm the Director of Education and Public Programs here at the Clinton Presidential Library. I am excited to see all of you here tonight. You may know that April is Jazz Appreciation Month, but here at the Clinton Library, we appreciate jazz year-round. So tonight's program is a part of the Clinton Presidential Center Presents series. That is a partnership with the Clinton Foundation, the Clinton School of Public Service, and the Clinton Presidential Library and Museum. Tonight's program is also a partnership with Humanities Arkansas, and I want to tell you a little bit about it. Music has always been a part of America, and to commemorate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, we are partnering with Humanities Arkansas to celebrate American-made music, particularly styles that flourished in Arkansas in the 20th century. Harmonizing in Arkansas is part of our public programming related to our Making Amends exhibit. This exhibit explores the history, debate, and evolution of the 27 amendments to the U.S. Constitution, and it is on display through July 26th. If you haven't had an opportunity to see it, I strongly encourage you to do so. You have time. You have time through July 26th. The series, the Harmonizing in Arkansas series, will culminate with some songwriting workshops during the Arkansas Folklife Festival, which is happening in North Little Rock on June 26, 27, 28. All of our programs and the Arkansas Folklife Festival are free and open to the public. So I do want to mention, as part of our partnership with Humanities Arkansas, they have program support that's been provided by the Federation of State Humanities Councils as part of By the People, Conversations Beyond 250, a series of community-driven programs created by Humanities Councils in collaboration with local partners. This initiative, I have to read this, it's kind of like tax tag and title extra. The initiative was developed by the Federation of State Humanities Councils and the Smithsonian Center of Folklife and Cultural Heritage. I encourage you to visit with my friends who are here from Humanities Arkansas after the event to share your reflections on America 250. So we're going to start with an overview of this genre with Stephen Koch. He is an award-winning journalist in both broadcasting and print with a focus on musical culture of the Mid-South. You probably know him best as creator and host of Arkansongs. And then the Redd Shoee Creww is going to let us experience what President Clinton once referred to as music born of the American experience that gives voice, eloquent, insistent voice to our American spirit. Bray Lenny will be the MC for the concert, and he'll introduce the band and share the theme for each of their 3 sets. So please help me welcome Stephen Koch to the podium.
Hey everybody, thanks y'all for being here, and this is our second month of doing this series of concerts, and it's such an honor to partner with Bray Lenny and with the Clinton Center, and we're very excited about the thing in June and partnering with the Arkansas Folklife Festival, and it's going to be a really cool thing across the river on the riverfront. Bobby Rush and Lucinda Williams are among the performers, and how many of you guys know about Arkansongs? Okay, a couple. All right, it's a program I've been doing on public radio for more than a quarter century, and so I've been trying to uplift the Delta and have some great stories about Arkansas. And it's been, I keep finding new people. When I first started, everyone said, once you do Johnny Cash and Glenn Campbell, you're done, right? And I've found so much more, and I've been able to teach a class on this at UALR. And last month we had my co-instructor, Rolf Grosbeck, that played some of the stuff I'm going to talk about tonight. But how many of you people love jazz? Okay, that's more than know what Arkansongs is. That's okay. It's been around longer. Who can define jazz for me right quick? Okay.
Soulful music that is like poetry without words.
Okay, but what about the jazz vocals? Okay. See, well, I didn't think anyone was going to answer, so, but thank you, and you're not wrong, and that's something that I've discovered in trying to teach my course is like how sort of muddled the concept of genre even is, and like, you know, we start asking like, what is folk music, and we were like, you know, it's so many things, but it's also not these things, and I think you can say the same thing about jazz. It's like, you know it when you hear it, but it's hard to define. And Nina Simone called jazz black classical music. And I think we're always just trying to find a way to categorize things in our mind. It's just something that we do as humans to like, okay, this is that and this is this. But jazz has been really wonderfully hard to pin down over the years. And there's been so many Arkansasians involved in jazz. And my big surprise in sort of compiling my notes for this today was how many guys came from right here in Little Rock, in North Little Rock, I'm proud to say. But, you know, we have mostly just the recorded canon, which started around the 1900s. You know, we have the sheet music and things before that, but there were elements of jazz in all this. And, you know, it was given the genre name ragtime, but that was sort of an early form of jazz. And of course, we know Scott Joplin, the undisputed king of ragtime, born in 1868, where present-day Texarkana is. This was sort of before that. There's a lot of folks that claim him, but he did come through here, married a woman from Pine Bluff named Freddie Alexander, and that's who he wrote his great opera about called Treemonisha. And then, of course, he's well known in Missouri for the songs he wrote about Missouri, and in Sedalia they have a festival for him. But at some point, that, you know, ragtime, it was all piano-based, and we had this cool guy named George Washington Thomas, born 1885 in north of Pine Bluff in Jefferson County, and his whole family, like his sister was Sippy Wallace, the blues singer, and she's featured in this book, From Almeda to Zilphia. The publishers here in the crowd tonight, thank you for helping spread the word about these great Arkansas women musicians. But Sippy Wallace was one of the most popular blues singers of the 1920s. And you don't hear much about her brother, but he's the guy that first started doing the walking bass line with his left hand on the piano. And so he was doing boogie woogie, you know, in the teens, you know, which didn't really become a genre until the 30s. And so this guy, George Washington Thomas, remember that name, and he really showed us what we now kind of know as barrel house music or boogie woogie, and he was sort of the guy that taught us that with that immortal walking bass. They have another brother in this family, Herschel Thomas, who was also a songwriter and a piano player, and these guys were incredible. But Sippy Wallace was by far the most successful and had sort of a jazz thing. Blues in the 1920s, we think about when we think about blues, sometimes we'll think about a solo performer with an acoustic guitar on the street, but it was like a pretty fancy deal in the 20s, and it was mostly led by women, and Sippy Wallace was one of them, and they had full bands, and they wore diamonds. Like if you check out some photos of Ma Rainey and like a silver dollar necklace made out of the gold eagle silver dollars, fancy stuff. These guys made some bank. And Sippy was excellent, but sort of that, you know, at this point, jazz and blues were sort of at a crossroads, and then jazz became what we know as jazz, and blues became what we know as blues, but before then it was a lot more muddied, you know, talking about genres being really hard to pin down. Okay, so right here in Little Rock, Snub Mosley, are you guys hip to Snub Mosley? Trombone player, born 1905. And then he also invented a thing called the slide trombone. And you guys may have heard of Bob Bazooka Burns that did the comic sort of slide horn, but this was more of a serious jazz thing. Check out Snub Mosley and his slide trombone. He died in 1987. You know, I did the Louis Jordan tribute concerts for years, and I met somebody that knew Snub Mosley, and they were said what a character he is. Anybody named Snub has probably got a good story. Okay, so, but not to be confused with Bob Bazooka Burns. Snub played with Alfonso Trent, who was born in 1902 in Fort Smith, and they had this great territory band, and they were sort of around Texas and doing a lot of cool things. He was a graduate of Shorter College, as was Alex Hill, who's on this week's Arkansongs episode, and along with Scipio Jones and Daisy Bates and these icons. We actually had some really amazing musicians graduate from Shorter, and of course the other schools in town. The Hayes Pillar was born in 1906 in North Little Rock. He also was in Alfonso Trent's band, and they started a thing called the Jeter Pillars Orchestra, and that kind of rose from the ashes of Alfonso Trent. And these guys were sort of defining the genre of jazz as we know now, but it was still, it wasn't quite solid yet. And these guys were like, knocking down. They would have these competitions. They would compete against other bands, and that's how you owned this territory. And if you had the chops, you owned that territory. It's almost like I've heard New Orleans say they have, instead of street gangs, they have gangs of guys that play the horns, and then so they control their territory. This is kind of like that. But yeah, Alex Hill, another Shorter College graduate, he's on this week's Arkansongs episode. I tried to coincide with our jazz thing today, and he would have been born in 3 days 120 years ago. So he was very much on the forefront of jazz and wrote songs and worked with Duke Ellington, Fats Waller, King Oliver, and with Lucky Millinder. But one of his great ones is I'm crazy about my baby, and my baby's crazy about me. And that was a big hit by Fats Waller, written by Alex Hill from right here in Little Rock. And so he played with this guy named Lucky Millinder, who was really the first person to work in a band with Sister Rosetta Tharpe in the early 40s. And there's a guy named Henry Glover, who we do a tribute for every year as a songwriting contest. We got a park named after him in his native Hot Springs, but he wrote Drown in My Own Tears, California Sun, was the original producer of The Twist, was the original producer of Fever, and was the guy that first recorded Little Willie John. But Henry Glover was also in Lucky Milner's band, but made his fame as a producer and songwriter, producing jazz folks like Sarah Vaughan, but also, James Brown and all these guys that were on this label called King Records out of Cincinnati. And who here has heard of Miles Davis? Okay. I mean, it seems so obvious we're even laughing because people that even don't know jazz know who Miles Davis is. But did you know that Miles Davis is actually Miles Davis III? And he was the first Miles Davis not to be born in Arkansas. And so there's a family farm near Moscow, Arkansas, which is north of Pine Bluff. Also, there was so much coming from, this is so Jefferson County and Pulaski County oriented. We can be proud. So James Brown, the Jr., was born in the same farm, and so was Miles Davis the First. Miles Davis the First was a Reconstruction era congressman here in Arkansas, here down the street, and was also, or maybe at Old State House, but was also a champion hog breeder, but is most known for his grandson, Miles Davis III. And you guys know about Schoolhouse Rock? If you remember Schoolhouse Rock, Bob Dorough he was from Cherry Hill, Arkansas, was the first person to sing a vocal on a Miles Davis record. And but he's most famous for Schoolhouse Rock, and he wrote most of those songs, sang many of them, from Figure 8, 3 is a Magic Number, Conjunction Junction, all these great songs. Thank you, Bob Dorough, and a prince of a man who, by the way, I'm trying to connect all these webs, he worked with Maya Angelou. And talking about jazz, I don't know if you guys know Maya Angelou, who's also in the book, was a jazz calypso artist. and did a calypso record, but she worked with Bob Doro, the Schoolhouse Rock kid. And let's see, what else do we got? Okay, yeah, so this brings us in to Louis Jordan. We're in the all these guys are born at the beginning of the century, mostly, of the 1900s. Louis Jordan was born in 1908, and remember us talking about Alex Hill, he was born in 1906, but he died so young, and tragically, he died in 1937. Louis Jordan didn't even have his first solo hit until 1938, and they're almost the same age, so we missed a lot from that guy. And yeah, Louis Jordan, I wrote a biography of this cat, and he's from Brinkley, but lived here in Little Rock, lived in Hot Springs, and ended up influencing James Brown, Chuck Berry, B.B. King, Freddie King, all the guys that we consider the influences. Louis Jordan was the guy that showed him what was up, Little Richard, and Louis had these movies. My buddy Daniel Cockrell from the old State House, you know, called these Louis Jordan movies Elvis movies before there was Elvis, because it's just, they aren't the biggest in plot. You know, you're trying to just get to the next song. But you know, but he was the first guy to do this. He's the originator of music video. He brought calypso to the USA, and he influenced all these guys. But like he had calypso hits in the 40s, and it didn't really become a trend until the late 50s, and that's when Maya Angelou hopped on that train and is even in a calypso movie, Maya Angelou, and she's instantly recognizable. And so by this time, when we're getting guys that are influenced by Louis Jordan and all these guys that came before us, B.B. King, Little Richard, all these guys, now they're starting to influence President Bill Clinton, born in 1946. 1946 was Louis Jordan's biggest year. He had Choo Choo Cha Boogie and Is You Is. He was #1 on the charts for 2/3 of the whole year. And like, I'm the biggest Louis Jordan fan I know, but like, I might even be a little tired of the songs after it being #1 for 18 weeks. 18 weeks. We can't even imagine that. But he got his start. He's really considered the father of rhythm and blues, but really a lot of guys considered him a jazz player. He was an excellent sax player, and his dad was a musician and played in the minstrel shows of the 10s and the 20s, and then got Louis Jordan on that. And he played in the Chick Webb Orchestra, which was the first guys to put out Ella Fitzgerald to the world. And Ella Fitzgerald and Louis became sort of a romantic item, and it got him boosted out of the band because Chick Webb didn't, like his musicians being romantically involved. And but it was the best thing that could have happened to Louis Jordan, because he had 50 top 10 hits, influenced all these guys, was the king of the jukeboxes in the 1940s, and the rise of rock and roll really did a number on him, and he never had a hit after 1950, after really ruling the charts throughout the decade of the 40s. And that's probably because of these boomers in 1946, like Bill Clinton, who were ready for the next thing, which ended up, being sort of this early R&B hybrid that Henry Glover was helping put out from Wynonie Harris and all these early, late 1940s guys that really were the first few years of what we started calling rock and roll. And we owe that to those guys like Junior Parker from West Memphis, and so many of these great players from usually almost always the east part of the state. So we're talking about Bill Clinton and the stuff that he loved and was influenced of him. We'll hear some of this music tonight, and I promise I'm winding up. Let's get some jazz going. This may be a little academic for y'all, but I hope you're finding some interesting stuff in it. But Art Porter, who remembers Art Porter? Okay, thank you. He was born in 1934 here in Little Rock. There may be some younger guys that don't know about him or Art Porter Jr., because Art Porter Sr. died in 1993 and Art Porter Jr. died in 1996. And this was part of the whole jazz family. I'm so honored to have known Eugene, who was he was Art Sr.'s brother, and he helped us with the Louis Jordan tribute. He worked at Arkansas Baptist College, on High Street. It used to be called High Street back in the day. And so the whole family, he introduced me to, it was Reggie. There was the whole guys. They were like Little Rock's Marsalis family, but like he was a popular guy, but he played everybody's weddings and he played at Cajuns. And Art Jr. was coming along this time, and Bill Clinton they got a law passed because of their friendship with Bill called the Art Porter Law. Have y'all heard of the Art Porter Law? Okay, James, the guy that runs the jazz history thing, has heard of it, as we'd hope. Okay, but anyway, so this was a law they got passed because of Art Porter Jr. to get him to be able to play in places like Cajuns and nightclubs that enabled a younger person under 21 to do this, because we had a law that said you couldn't. So we owe a lot of thanks for all the there's so many musicians that are under 21 that are out there playing now, and that's probably, at least in part due to this Art Porter Law. But Art Porter Jr. tragically perished in a boating accident. He drowned off the coast of Thailand in 1996. This was only weeks after Bill Clinton was reelected, and because of their relationship, he arranged for the body to be shipped back to the United States. And okay, closing out, let's see. Oh yeah, Cassandra Wilson. Do you guys remember Cassandra Wilson, born in 1955 in Jackson, Mississippi? I've heard she used to waitress at Juanita's. Can anybody verify? Is that okay? But she is a great singer, but also like Greta Boston in our book, with the portraits from Catherine Strauss. Like this is Rosemarie McCoy, the songwriter, using vintage photographs. Cassandra Wilson was sort of like Greta Boston, and these people like sort of a jazz person. And it brings us all back to what the genres are. Is this blues? Is this jazz? And that's what makes this music all so great. But it was kind of like she is doing blues, jazz. What is it? Maybe it doesn't matter. It's just music, and it's something we can all love. So we got a few segments here. I want to, you can do all this if you want. This is Bray Lenny. We've been working in partnership with Kathleen on this. It's been so great. Thank you guys for listening. So we got this first segment, and it's going to be some Art Porter and Cassandra Wilson that we talked about. Second segment will be God Bless the Child among the tracks, and that was the other track that Bill Clinton played on the Arsenio Hall show, that famous thing. He played Hound Dog, but also God Bless the Child. And then our third segment will be just some regular jazz standards that you know and love from the Redd Shoee Creww. But please welcome Bray Lenny to MC the show. Thank you, guys.
How's everybody feeling? All right, so we're going to do that one more time. When I say how you're feeling, you say jazzy, baby. How's everybody feeling? One more time, how's everybody feeling? Here we go. I am Bray Lenny. I want y'all to make some noise for Mr. Stephen Koch. That was a wonderful lesson he just gave us. And before we get started, I want to have a little fun with everybody. Thank you for the jazz music, Rick. We're going to do some trivia. Can everybody hear me? Okay. So we're going to do some general jazz trivia. I don't have any prizes today, but we're going to just have fun. My first question is a true or false question, and that is, one of Louis Armstrong's nickname was Satchmo. Is that true or false? All right, y'all get a point. The next question, Duke Ellington was primarily known for his skills as a professional trumpet player. True or false? That's another point. You can't answer, Alicia. She know it all. All right, so the last question before we get started. Charlie Parker and Dizzy Gillespie pioneered the style of jazz called bebop. Is that true or false? I hear some, what is it? It is true. All right, so listen, we are gonna pop this thing off with the Arkansas highlight segment, and we're gonna feature some of the artists that Stephen just talked about. So I want y'all to make some noise for the Redd Shoee Creww.
I'm sorry, like, I'm Australian, okay? But I just want to say, like, I really like that song, so, and I'm happy for this gig that it got put on my radar, so, yeah. Oh, thank you. This next tune, Is You Is or Is You Ain't? One, two, one.
One, two, there we go. How they sounding tonight, y'all? They sound good? I need y'all to make some noise for the Redd Shoee Creww. All right, so listen, bring it down just a little bit, bring it down just a little bit. We're gonna have some more trivia while they play this song. Is that cool with y'all? All right, that's what we're gonna do. All right, so these are open answer questions. What is the birthplace of jazz? Say it a little bit louder. Yes, sir. Y'all make some noise. We got us a winner. All right, the next question is what instrument does Bill Clinton play? Let's do it one more time. What instrument? There we go. All right, and the third question. Who is often referred to as the Queen of Jazz? The other one. Somebody gotta help me out. Begin with a B. Say what? You helped them out. They heard you. Billie Holiday. Make some noise for yourselves. All right, so listen. You just got to hear There's Only You by Art Porter. Is You or Is You Ain't My Baby by Louis Jordan. And this was Run the Voodoo Down by Cassandra Wilson. So now we're about to move forward to the Clinton's Favorite segment. And before we get started, I want to piggyback on something you said. But before I do it, I'm going to introduce each individual member of the band. On the lead and saxophone tonight, we got Miss Alicia Patillo. On guitar, we got Mr. Isaac Hilgerstad. On keys, we got Mr. Tariq Horton. On the drums, we got Ashton Hollowell. And on the bass, we got Mr. Eric Fells. Bring it down just a little bit more. So you said something about the Art Porter law. and it enabled younger people to play in the clubs. I know personally, for myself, I was a beneficiary of that law. So was he, so was he, and so was he. So shout out to our port, I just want to say that. And we're gonna slide into Bill Clinton's favorites right now. You will hear Summertime by Zeus Sims. You'll hear Harlem Nocturne by David Sanborn. And you'll hear God Bless the Child by the Queen of Jazz, who is? All right. Y'all sound amazing. So listen, am I the only one who want to get some red shoes and put some on right now? Is it just me? They sound good. I want to join the crew. So listen, I believe they got social media. Make sure you follow them at Redd Shoee Creww on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to support what they have going on. I want to take a poll just for funsies. If you enjoyed the Arkansas Highlight segment, raise your hand. If you enjoyed the Bill Clinton's favorite, raise your hand. Now we're going to see which one you enjoyed better. First segment. Second segment. So the second segment is the winner right now? Okay. So listen, I'm going to do a few more trivia questions. I just wanted to see what y'all enjoyed so far. These are fill in the blank. The jazz style that originated in New Orleans is called... Come here real quick.
Ditchyland.
Y'all make some noise for the young man. Yes, sir. All right, next up. Blank is the famous jazz singer known for her scat singing and vocal improvisation. Can you say it a little bit louder? There we go. All right, and the last question, I'm done with the trivia for the night. Blank is a notable jazz composer and pianist known for songs like Take 5. I heard it somewhere. What you got? There we go. So listen, before we get into this last segment, we got to make some noise for Miss Kathleen Pate and the Clinton Library for having us. We got to make some noise for our sound and AV guy, Mr. Jake. Y'all give it up for him. I want you to give it up for our moderator, Mr. Stephen Koch. And what we're going to do with this last segment is we're going to let the band just open it up and have some fun. Is that okay? Y'all take us home.
one more round of applause. They are so talented. I am glad that I didn't ask to join in. I wore my red shoes, but the only thing I can play is the radio. Sorry, I had to make that joke. I've been sitting on it all night long. I want to thank the Redd Shoee Creww. I want to thank Stephen Koch, Bray Lenny. Stephen Koch is a wealth of knowledge. He could have talked all night, but we only gave him 30 minutes. So, no, I could listen to you all night. So much knowledge. And it really is amazing to think of all the incredible music that has roots in our state. It truly, truly is. And not just talent that was, but talent that is. We're so glad to showcase that tonight. So glad that you were here to share it with us. I want to encourage you to visit with my friends from Humanities Arkansas. They want to know how you're feeling. And you can write on the little thing. You can write Jazzy Baby. I'm good with that. If that's your reflection about America 250, I'm good with that. I can think of worse things. So thank you everyone for being here, and have a good night.